Seeing beyond, living transformed is a spiritual crossing of the threshold to the world of being a truly expanded human being. Join medium Cheryl and Kelley for conversations about discovering deep spirituality, developing your intuitive and empathic skills, and personal mediumship. Each episode will focus on tips, tools, and techniques to help you understand and expand your own inner gifts and life journey. You can call in each week to receive spiritual guidance, personal readings, and we'll answer your questions. We'll talk with luminary experts on meditations, the afterlife, energy healing, past lives, and much more. Join our Seeing Beyond spiritual community to learn more about expanding your mind, body, and soul, and have fun on your journey to empowered transformation.
Hey, namaste, everyone. Welcome to tonight's show. We want to welcome you to Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. We're going live all over the platforms tonight, right, Kelley? We're on Instagram.
Oh, I forgot to set up my Instagram.
Facebook,
oh my goodness.
YouTube. Can you set it up while we're talking?
I am. You talking, I'm setting up.
Okay. Well, guys, tonight's show, and everyone logging in, just let us know you're here. Please say hello. Say hi to Brianna in the backstage. We always want to say hi to our third co-host, Brianna, who puts this show together for us. And, she'll be helping us with questions and helping us read our email questions. So say hello when you come to our show this evening. Tonight's a big show, and I think it's really needed. It couldn't really come at an appropriate time. We've had shows like this before, but it's always it's such a popular topic that we have to return to it. And the title of tonight's show, it's called Charged Souls, an Empath's Guide to Vibrant Healing. And boy, I'm telling you, we need it. We need it right now. There's so much going on in the world. So Kelley, how are you doing? And are you all set up there?
Great. I just connected to Instagram. Yay.
Great. Yay.
I am good. Thank you. And welcome everybody. So appreciative of everyone who shows up every week. Last week's show was really exciting.
It was exciting.
I feel like it went so quick, and I don't know how many readings we did, but it felt like so many readings, didn't it?
We did a lot of readings last week. Yeah.
And I love our subject this week about energy. It's very interesting because I didn't even think about it, but I posted about energy today with crystals and how crystals, the energetic, I can't even say it out of my mouth, but basically how the energy from the crystals help you with your energy, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wording it wrong now.
No, I saw your TikTok post and it looked great.
Yeah. So it was, but I just thought that's really cool. It's our show tonight and I wasn't even realizing or planning that,
Yeah.
So it sort of worked out.
Anyway. So tonight we want to hear your questions too. We want to know if you think you're an empath, right? Because tonight, this topic, this conversation is going to be, do you know if you're an empath? And, what is an empath? And how can you protect your energy? And how can you thrive, right? Because empaths, sometimes you can tell if you're an empath when you get into a large crowd and it's just too much, it's overwhelming. Or you become highly sensitive. Yeah.
So, I didn't know what an empath was until I started developing. And that's when I read this one book, and I don't know what book it is now, but there was a whole chapter on empath. And I just it was like my mouth just dropped open. I was just like, oh my God, this is describing my life. This is what's happened to me my whole entire life. And it was the most amazing feeling because I just felt so validated. And I feel like a lot of people who don't know what an empath is, if you hear about it, you're going to be the same way. You're going to be like, whoa, this is so me. So why don't you describe what an empath is, Cheryl? And I'm going to describe what I think it is.
Yeah. So an empath, in my way of understanding it, an empath is someone who can easily absorb energy, whether it's negative or positive, because empaths, they're so open. They have such a giving heart. They want to help out everybody. They want everybody to be happy. They will bend over backwards if something's not right to try to make things right again.
Yeah.
Doing that, though, empaths can absorb, like I mentioned, energy, whether it's positive. So if they're around a bunch of people or a positive event or music that they love, they can absorb that energy and feel lifted up or enlightened in some way. But also, it can be a negative, like if they're around people who are arguing or there's a difference of opinion or, a negative crowd, so to speak, they can absorb that too. And that is really the empathic um, qualities that you might say, or the things that attribute where you can tell if you're an empath. All right. Now, being an empath, it's important. We'll talk about this in a moment, but I'm going to get Kelly's input back. But it is important to set boundaries, and we'll go into this on how to protect and keep yourself healthy and clean, because being an empath is a superpower. That's our goal tonight, is to share with you. It's such amazing because you can trust your gut instinct. You can kind of size people up or tell what people, if they're lying or not, so to speak. I mean, you have that really extra keen sensory instinct. So Kelly, tell us what in your opinion, what is an empath?
I feel like an empath is very so much the same thing, but to me, I always explain it to I walk into a room and I can feel the tension if there's tension. I can feel the happiness. I'm drawn to the most energetic person and things like that. I also feel like an empath is somebody like when I used to get a lot of anxiety attacks when I was in large crowds. I stopped going to concerts when I was like 20 because I had a panic attack, or 21
Mm,
at a concert a couple times in a row, and I couldn't understand what was happening and why I felt the way I felt. That's why I said when I found this chapter, and it wasn't until I was like 40 and read this chapter in the spiritual book. I don't even know what book now, but it just changed my whole world because now I
mhm,
totally understood why I got anxiety when I drove.
mhm,
Because I'm picking up all the anger on the road, and I would get like such anxiety and get so sick sometimes just on long drives in traffic. Um, and I've always like created my whole life around driving and keeping everything close to home
mhm,
because of that. I understood now that, I'm a people pleaser because I could feel people's pain and I just wanted to make them happy. And that
mhm,
wasn't always healthy for me. So it really
mhm,
helped me learn like boundaries are really important, and shutting down my chakras when I'm around crowds, like really putting that bubble around me. All these things were like so important and so helpful because as empaths, you do pick up everything, whether you want it or not, until you learn to manage your energy. And so
mhm,
things like I had panic attacks. I had they said fibromyalgia when I was in my 20s from all the pain I was feeling all over my body.
mm,
I don't have fibromyalgia. All that pain I was feeling in my body wasn't my pain. It was like the environment that I was putting myself in. So I do think that it's so important to teach kids about spirituality because this started when I was a child and nobody explained it to me, and it would have been so helpful.
and is that how you got rid of the fibromyalgia, so to speak, was learning
Pretty
about
much.
your
I
spirituality and learning
manage
about
my
your gift?
energy. Yeah, I manage my energy to the point of I don't walk around like this big open absorbing sponge anymore. I am closed unless I open up to work. And that was the most valuable thing. That's why I love when I go out and people are like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a psychic medium." They're like, "Oh, read me." And I'm like, "Sorry, I'm shut down because I'm
Mhm,
not working."
mhm,
I don't do it. And I love that because
mhm.
I didn't used to be shut down.
We have some great questions coming in. If I can just go right there. Sylvia is asking, are all empaths medium or psychic? That's a great question, Sylvia. Welcome to the show tonight.
Yes.
Kelly, why don't you answer that one?
I feel like yes. Personally, because I believe every human is empath is I mean, is psychic and mediumistic. But it's a matter of, is that your calling? Is that what you wanna do? Like, we can all sing, but are we great singers? Not necessarily. I can't always carry a tune. If I hum, I can carry a tune, but the louder I get, the worse it sounds. So it's sort of like mediumship is sort of to me, I look at it the same way. We all have it. We all have that ability, especially to connect to our own loved ones, but I don't believe that we're all meant to be a medium or psychic. But empathic people, I think, are very much healers, mediums, psychics, but they avoid it.
Right.
I avoided it.
I believe there are a lot of people in the world that are empaths, um, you know, aside from psychics and mediums. Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I think there are a lot of people who are empaths and people who are on this call with us tonight. I'm sure many of people are realizing maybe even tonight after listening to our show, or they'll go down the checklist with us and say,
Yes,
"Hey, that applies to me."
right?
And one and here's one, who is saying this? Oh, I just missed it. Here we go. Let's do another one. Kate from New Jersey, or Kate NJ. I was told I am an empath, and I am. I cannot go out into any types of crowds. My body hurts. I have not an idea on how to turn it off when I am with toxic people. I want to say you're at the right show to be listening tonight, Kate. If we can help you out, and I know we have lots of ideas for you, because this is a very typical, right, Kelly,
Yeah,
of this
very
is
difficult.
when you're in a crowd and becomes too overwhelming. It can even be a great concert. It can be a great energy field, but just too much after a while, or it's too crowded in some way. But yeah, when you're around toxic people, one of the best things to do, number one is to remove yourself from the situation, right? Because nobody really wants to be around toxic people, especially empaths. For some reason, we even are more sensitive, where we feel it even ahead of time, ahead of schedule, so to speak. We feel it before we even get there, so to
Yeah,
speak.
it's so true.
Um,
Yeah.
I know I was on the phone with someone the other day, and you could just feel the compassion. Like, this is another type of empathy, so to speak. They had just lost a loved one. So, it being an empath in that way, I mean, not only are you compassionate, but really you can feel into the person I was working with. You can really get it's a beautiful experience, by the way, of the sensitivity around that. But going back to the crowds, as Kate was asking about, Kelly, what can we offer her tonight about how do you deal when you're in those crowds, or when you're around toxic people? Like, what's number one? What do we do? Remove
So,
ourselves, and what else? Yeah.
well, for me, I prepare myself before. I
Hmm.
have to do that. And I've worked really hard to be able to go because I've always had such anxiety in crowded places, but I love going to crowded places, but I can't handle it, right? So, I prepare my mind before I'm gonna go. Like, when I went to India and I was gonna be there for 3 weeks, that's a very crowded place. This was back in 2017. I was so paranoid, not paranoid, I wanna say fearful, not paranoid. I was so fearful of, like, what was gonna happen and how I
Hmm.
could control this when I'm with all these people as well on a group trip. And I think that, the first thing is preparing your mind, setting that intention. For me, when I wake up in the morning and I know I'm going somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people, I do a little breathing thing. I breathe in through my nose for like 4 counts and out for 4 counts. And I kind of stretch it up to 6 seconds. I don't have the greatest lungs. You can go longer, whatever. And I relax as I'm letting the breath out. I relax my whole body and I set that intention and I set a bubble of like love around me and only love can get in. And I just know that nothing's going to get to me. So when I set that intention, I believe it, I know it, it happens.
Hmm.
That's how it works. If I
Hmm.
don't prepare or if I'm caught off guard, I definitely get a migraine. I get headaches. I feel achy all over. I feel like I'm going to get sick. So
I
so
Yeah.
that's what I have to do.
So
Yeah.
breathing is, you prepare ahead of time.
I
So.
do the morning
Mhm.
of, I
Mhm.
set my intention and it
Mhm.
works.
I know when another technique that I like to tell Kate and anyone else about how we need to create those boundaries, empaths, we need to create boundaries, whether we're preparing before, as Kelly mentioned, or we're surrounding ourselves in the white light, in that orb shape of a white light. That's another way of protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
I know that when I practice grounding, that's my way of dealing with the sensitivity, is I really ground myself to where I remember when I was in another country a long time ago with a lot of people, so to speak, and it was really tense, just a tense situation, just noise. I was so calm. I was so I was so calm, like I was amazed, but it's like it's not affecting me. Like this chaos is not affecting me, even though I am an empath. But it is about practicing these techniques that we're talking about tonight, practicing them. And that way you're building, you're preparing, you're getting used to what it feels like to have your own energy back and
Yeah.
where you're not leaking or, you know, where someone's not sucking your energy, not that they may even know that they are doing it or the crowd is doing it, but you really do have to know more about your own abilities as an empath because it is a superpower. It's not really meant to as a negative in your life, right, Kelly?
It's
Being an
beautiful.
empath is a gift in
I
some way.
believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is. Um, I also think like it's really important that people have boundaries in life.
Mhm,
I learned
mhm.
this late in life, but the word no is really important
Oh
and
boy.
not feeling guilt for saying it.
Mhm, mhm,
Because before age 40, I always like was the person be like, "Oh, whatever makes you happy, whatever you like, whatever you want to do. I'm easy, whatever, anything." But I really wasn't. I was like getting annoyed, because
mhm,
like sometimes I wanted to do something different, but I was afraid to like rock the boat per se.
mhm,
I
mhm.
will say that,
Mm.
around 30, I really found my voice because I had 2 children, and you find your voice as a parent, but that's different than my personal life and with relationships and things like that. So I think it's really important for empathic people mostly, but everybody. But when you're an
Mhm,
empath, you wanna people please, and we
mhm,
can't please everybody,
mhm,
and
mhm.
that will cause more anxiety.
Right.
You
So there's so many great questions, guys, and we love all your questions. And Kelly, this is such a great show tonight. I'm so glad we're doing this topic because people really don't know how to use their empathic abilities. I'm seeing questions on, how to shield yourself from. Um, Let me just see. JV+2 on my Instagram says, being an empath, how do you shield yourself from the energy of negativity? Let me see if I can put this somewhere, and then I will see if I can post it. Thank you. Thank you, Brianna. So, this is one thing, if I can step in and say one thing I do going into the grocery store, let's say I'm going, or the mall, let's say the mall. Malls are big, not that we don't go that often, but we go somewhere where there's a lot of people. I will I will kind of close down my chakras, so to speak, or I imagine pulling a zipper up over them. That's another way. Just imagine
Yes,
zipping up your chakras, right?
or
Some
zip down
people
if you
or
feel.
down, and some people imagine a light switch, like turning off a light. Like I'm shielding myself in this white light, but I'm also like buttoning up, so to speak. Some people will, snap their fingers and they're closed. It's that simple. It's just the thought. But it is about you will be guided not to be around negative people when you are having a boundary or protecting yourself. You will be guided not to get too close or not to get overly too close or to step away once again and just leave the situation if you have to.
Yes. And so many people saying hello. Hello, Liz. Hello, Bud from Ohio. And I wanted to say hello to Kristen Breen, I'm sorry. And it looks like Chris Bacos. Hello to
Oh,
you
hi,
as well. And
Chris.
everybody else, Kathy, and so many people are saying hello to us tonight, Joanne.
Kathy.
Thank you guys. We're so appreciative of everybody showing up every week. Makes me so happy.
I know that sometimes empaths, we may even get tired easily. Can you understand that? I kind of
Yes,
saw
and
you.
this question, I got excited. Is there a crystal I can use to protect myself from
Oh,
negative energy? I would say any black stone,
mhm,
but I like to counteract it with a rose quartz.
mhm,
So like obsidian,
mhm,
uh, hematite even, like that's like black stone, I believe.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
there
hematite, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few different black stones. Any of them will work, but I always like to have a rose quartz because rose quartz attracts love. So I'm
Mhm,
gonna use my black stone, and I actually sometimes will carry them in my purse.
mhm,
My son, when he was younger, would carry them in his pocket, and I had a crystal store when he was little, and he would always steal a little handful of rose quartz and hand them out to people that looked angry when he was walking around the street with me. We laugh about that now. He's 17 now, but when he was real little, he'd always give people rose quartz when they were angry. So those two stones are my kind of go-to when I am going to an event, a crowded place. I'll have them in my pocket or somewhere on me. Yeah.
These are all, I mean, wow, this is a whole show in itself. If we just answered questions, we would still fill up our time. You guys are amazing. And this just tells us how needed this topic is and how many people are opening up to their empathic abilities. And let's just ask the audience, like, have you ever been told when you were younger, hey, you're too sensitive, like, get over it, right? Don't we love that, right? Get over it. You're too sensitive. It hurts our feelings, right? Because we feel like it's something wrong. Like, did we do something wrong here? But then
Yes.
you realize being an empath means that you're highly sensitive. Really, in some way, I don't want to say you're more intuitive, but you're certainly more sensitive to
Oh,
receiving information, right? Or to
aware.
guide the
Yeah.
angels.
Aware. I like to call
More
it
aware.
aware.
They're
Yeah. I
aware.
mean, that's what it is. You're so aware of not just you, but the things around you. And not many people are anymore, unfortunately, in our society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are on autopilot or, they're distracted because they're worrying about the past or the future or and being present. But I do want to mention, so we talked about breathing. We talked about pre-planning, as Kelly was mentioning with the breaths. We talked about, surrounding yourself in the white light or zipping up your chakras, so to speak, or buttoning up. But also taking those deep breaths. It is about, if you need to like excuse yourself for a few moments, step away from the situation, take some deep breaths, get yourself recentered and come back in. No problem there. That's another technique you could do, just excuse yourself, take a break, a
Go to the
few minutes,
bathroom. Believe it or
go to the
not,
bathroom.
the bathroom stall. Sometimes you can take that minute to regroup and set your bubble again, you know?
Yeah, yeah, drink some water. Also what I have found is I even tell myself, I give myself a time frame like, okay, I'm going to go spend 20 minutes at that party, so to speak, or half an hour or an hour. But then at that time I have to kind of check in with myself and ask myself, look, am I getting tired? Is this draining on me? It's almost like I have to really be aware of how much energy I'm giving away or how much people are giving me in some way. I mean, a lot of parties are great, of course, but sometimes with the music or if there's, what have you, other things happening, it can be tiring, especially when you're out of your norm, when you're out of your comfort zone in someone else's home or event, so to speak.
Yeah. Here's some great things. I mean, I just want to touch on this one here from Kathy. She says, our world is so very scary right now, constantly praying and breathing. That's the thing, when you're an empath, the news can throw you into a funk.
Mhm.
And I read the news headlines and I'll get on this kick because there's a lot going on. I'll start reading all of the news and it could just throw my whole day off. So I
Mhm.
always recommend don't read the news first thing in the morning. Read it at the end of the day if you have to read it because you don't want it to mess your day up. And it's not like I'm burying my head in the sand. I'm aware of what's going on. It's that I need to prepare for my day, and the best way to prepare for my day as an empath is to not read the news, not watch the news, and to focus on inspirational things and things that, like, brighten me up and lighten my energy. So if you're an empath, that could be an issue. So I always recommend don't watch the news first thing or read the news first thing in the morning. Get it off your phone if that's where you're seeing it. It's very helpful. I know we want to be aware of things, but I don't know. I just think it's not the healthiest for somebody who's sensitive. What about you, Cheryl? Do you read the news in the morning?
Um, I do, but I don't take it in, I guess, is what you say. Like I kind of see the highlights just to see what's going on, but then I step away from it and I get my day started and then I'll come back to it later if I need it. But I don't spend a lot of time in front of the TV, Kelly, that if that's what you're
Well,
asking.
not
I mean,
the TV
just
because I don't either, but
oh
it's on
yeah.
my phone.
Oh, it's on your phone.
And
Yeah.
and
No.
so sometimes in the morning a news headline will pop up and I like
Uh-huh.
pop on it and I'm like, no, why'd I do that? So I had
Yeah,
to take those
got it,
off. Sorry,
got
my
it.
dogs are barking in the
No, we
background.
love your dogs. We love your dogs. We
Yeah.
have to have a dog show.
Paul and Aiden are just getting home from dinner or
Aw.
somewhere, grocery store, so the dogs are upset.
I gotta tell you, anytime we step into fear, we wanna step into joy. So if you can, find something that makes you feel better. If I'm feeling nervous or anxious or, whatever that uncomfortableness feeling is, I have to find something that brings me joy. Number 1, I go outside in the sunshine. I try to work in my garden. I'll call a friend, that can, help me kind of get through it or make me feel better, or watch a movie that makes you feel better. But what you almost want to consciously do something that makes you feel better. Maybe it's cooking lunch, right? Maybe it's cooking a dessert or whatever. It's being in the kitchen or whatever that brings you, however you find joy, reading a book. Just see when you step into the uncomfortableness or the fear, what have you, if you can somehow redirect that or breathe it in and out, send it love, and then proceed to something that brings you joy. Because that's where we're most centered. That's where we're most in our own presence, in our own awareness.
Sorry, I'm muted. The dogs are going quite insane.
Oh
I'm not
no, we
sure
would love to have your dogs.
they're just barking like insanely. I didn't put the bark collars on before the show, so I'm sorry.
No, no,
Oh,
no, it's
thank you,
okay.
Marie. Thank you,
We love the
Marie.
energy of
I love the
your
dogs too,
animals.
but I have barkers, okay? I mean,
That's
they love
okay.
their bark. And Daisy's 13 now, and we think she's getting senile.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
she just randomly, like, attacks the
Oh,
cat, like she's gonna kill them,
yeah, yeah.
like, chases them, like she is, like, vicious, and then she does this out in the backyard, she just chases nothing, and she's growling and barking at, like, nothing, so we think she's losing her mind.
Aw,
I don't know
I
what to do. She's so sweet, though. I love my baby. So I told
yeah,
everybody we have to treat her like a little princess and spoil her rotten.
yeah. There we are.
Oh,
So thank you, Maria. So Maria's asking, do you have any grounding ideas to help empaths? Grounding ideas.
I love eating chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Not the best, right? Dark chocolate. It's not the best idea, but the other one is to go outside, and just
Yeah.
be outdoors in fresh air. Walking,
Mhm,
um, being around the flowers or touching
mhm,
trees, or even
mhm.
if you can take your feet off. I mean, your feet off, your shoes off, and put your feet like in the dirt, or just yeah, straight on the earth. Grass, dirt, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those things will really help bring you back. Um, Meaning you could do them all and eat chocolate.
Yes, do them while you're eating chocolate. Also dancing. I love dancing. Put on some music, dancing, singing, exercising. I just went to the gym today, so to speak. So it's like that's how I'm working on my empathic health, I guess we could call it that, or my spiritual health is, being grounded. And always remember to being grounded, all throughout the day, really. And it's many times we can become ungrounded. Uh, just by holding your breath or being in fear, I guess, could unground you. So always try to breathe in and out love. And, it is all about divine love and breathing that in because, you are spiritual beings. And I do believe, Kelly, we all need to practice more beingness than, doingness, right? Because we're always doing.
We are, it's funny. I feel like since I hit okay, since my son passed when I was 46, because it was 2016, I was 45, but I turned 46, 4 months after he passed, right? Since my son passed, I have really been able to let a lot of things go and not try to control things and
Mhm,
just enjoy quiet moments
mhm,
and just enjoy like relaxing and taking care of
mhm,
myself because I never
mhm.
did that before. My whole life was always revolving around being a mom. That was, and it's still like my first priority, right? But even when I did that, I couldn't relax. And
Mm.
I realized life's so short when I mean, I've lost people before, but when you lose your child, you really realize how short life is and what a waste of time it is to stress, worry, and have anxiety, you know? Like, life's so short, and those things don't accomplish anything. If you think about it, they're not practical.
Mhm.
So, I started really, working on just learning to just be in the moment and not worry about anything. Not everybody likes the change in my family, but I'm happy with it. I think my daughter always says she misses the old mom who was always really early and on time and never, canceled anything. But that mom was really anxious, you know?
Ah, that's great. Those are good things to remember every day, Kelly.
Right?
And, Brittany, here on the call is saying she sings to ground herself. She practices singing, yes. And, uh also, yes, also, journaling is another thing I wanted to talk about. Journaling, when we're empaths, it's good to write down your feelings or your emotions or keep a diary. It's really about touching in, touching in with home base, with your heart, and connecting with yourself. Yeah, Kate again says, I'm listening to calming music. Oh, absolutely, especially when you're in traffic. That is so funny. That is so amazing. I meant to say it's so amazing, but because I listen to, comedy when I'm in traffic and I just laugh and it takes the edge off of things, listen to humor.
Brianna just posted backstage, so I just posted it. Write it out and burn it to let it go. That is
Um,
a really I feel that really works a lot. Like, I just feel
mhm,
like 'cause it's sort of like I am a visual person,
mhm,
so you're getting to write it down, you get to see it, and then you're watching it burn and be done. It's
mhm,
like it's almost like it's a symbolic ceremony,
mhm,
but sometimes those are the best.
mhm.
I like that.
And other ways I love it. I love what you're saying. And other ways to ground yourselves is to eat food. Eat everyone because and it's eating healthy, of course, but chocolate's good, right? Or indulging is fine, right? In moderation, I guess. But it's about eating. Eating helps you ground. And sugar's okay, but it doesn't last long, so to speak, in the body. But something of heavier substance or healthier substance does stay longer in the body. And that's the whole point of learning how to ground and be that empath and drinking water too, right? We're all about the water. I think water is going to become even more important as our energy keeps raising, because we're all opening up to higher awareness. And these kids coming along these days, or the millennials, or what have you, uh, the Gen X kids, they're very much aware. They're very aware, and they've already worked out a lot of their stuff, right?
Yeah,
Before they come into this earth. So they're heightened awareness here.
yeah. I love this ritual bath, taking a bath, because we just remodeled our master bathroom, and I don't have a shower, it's just a bathtub. I wanted a nice big bathtub, and I literally take a bath every day. Most days, it's like a 15-20 minute bath, but 2 to 3 times, well, 2 times, I try to get t at least 2 times a week. I'll take an hour-long bath. I have bath salts, I have bath oils, my
Mm,
essential oils, I have candles, I put in special lighting to dim my lights so it looks like candlelight. Anything
nice.
that I give myself, and I love
Mhm,
the essential oils because I love aromatherapy.
mhm.
And, I will go in there and I have a pillow. I have fallen asleep, and my husband's come, and I'm asleep like this I don't necessarily take a bubble bath because 'cause I'm allergic to bubbles and soap, but bubble if I could, I would be surrounded in bubbles like
Oh my
this.
gosh. We would be
Yes.
at Calgon.
Right, but it is a really beautiful, calming, relaxing thing, and I try to reserve that for days where I know I've had, like, a busy day or a lot of readings, and I do that at
Yeah.
the end of the night. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love it.
S Thank you, that's a great idea. It's like giving yourself a spa day, Kelly, except
Yeah,
yours
it
sounds like a
is.
spa day every day. Yeah,
It's true, though, like, we deserve to be treated that way.
we
Why do we
do.
not treat ourselves well?
Mhm.
I went through
We
so long of my
mm,
life where I was, like, last. My teeth have been last. Everybody's got great teeth but mom, because I put the kids first, right? So now I'm like, "Okay, I want my teeth done." I put off with not having nails for so long, and,
mm.
now I have to get my nail like, I'm it's important. I don't feel guilty anymore.
Oh,
I used to
good, good,
feel
good.
guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to pamper ourselves.
Yeah, it's important. We have to love ourselves.
Yeah,
It's part of
and
growing.
that's part of being an empath and protecting your energy is self-love, self-care, right? Self-respect, right? Because if you don't do you, so to speak, like, you
See,
really wanna put yourself first. Yeah.
I think a lot of women weren't taught that as children in the '70s. I'm
Mhm,
from the
mhm,
'70s, right? It
mhm.
wasn't a priority. We were taught that the men were the priority. The
Yeah.
boys were the priority, and we weren't ever gonna be able to do what they could do, but, it was our job to support them. That's how I feel like, I don't think my mom raised me that way because she was a single parent of 5 kids and worked her butt off, but I think our society taught me that.
It was
TV
more of a
shows.
societal, cultural norm at that time.
Yeah. And so, it was difficult for me to put myself first. There was so much guilt. And I remember getting therapy after my first divorce, and I had 2 young kids, 3 and 6. They were 3 and
Mm,
6 when I started getting divorced. And we went to therapy every Tuesday night, and we would go and get a burrito that we would cut into 3, and we'd share it, and chips and salsa because we were broke.
mm,
And the therapist, like, my night, I went out, because the kids no, it was Wednesday night, because he had them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I went out. It was my night to go out. I was in my early 30s. I never went out in my 20s because I got married young and had kids. So, of course, on those nights that he had the children, and I got this huge guilt trip even from a therapist, and that was, what,
mm.
like, 20 years ago, of
Yeah.
how a mom needs to be home. My kids were telling me that I wasn't behaving like a mother because
Oh,
I went out 2 nights a week,
yeah.
so that's what society was teaching them.
Yeah. Huh. It
And then
goes
the
back.
therapist was reinforcing this, that I'm not allowed my own time as a
Mhm,
mother. And I
mhm,
think I remember telling this when I got my voice, telling that therapist, "If I'm not happy and healthy, then how am I gonna be a good, happy, healthy parent?
mhm.
I have to take care of my needs and theirs. If I'm not taking care of, then I can't take care of them." And he
Mhm.
didn't quite get it, and so that's when I switched to a female
There
therapist.
we go, there we go. Good, good job.
Nothing against men, but I just think our society really
Yeah.
puts that pressure
Oh,
on
yeah,
women.
no, no, yeah, it was totally just probably, yeah, a cultural thing. So,
Yeah, it was
Samantha says she's singing and dancing in her kitchen and it's so uplifting for her, and that's a great thing to be doing. I mean, do what you love, and getting into fear can really, I think, stop you in your tracks sometimes, or, getting overwhelmed by the news, or even getting into, sensory overload. Being an empath, we can get into sensory overload. Say you go, shopping all day, or you go to 5 different restaurants in one day. I mean, even though you're having a great day, it can still be sensory overload. It can be too much. So you really want to make sure you compensate, or, tune it, balance that out. Because even being, gone away from home, so to speak, people get homesick. That could be an empathy, sensitivity, situation where you feel homesick, right? And after 2 weeks, maybe, of traveling, that's long enough, and you feel, so you have to really respect the way you're feeling. That's what I want to say. What,
it's true, though, that you say that, Cheryl, because I often cry when I leave my family after
mhm,
day 3. I miss them so much.
mhm,
And then I'm
mhm.
enjoying my trip and missing my family. It's terrible.
Yeah. Aw, Kelly.
But I'm like, I think that's because 'cause I'm an empath. I don't think, my husband, when he goes away, misses us like he's doing his thing. I just think it's 'cause I'm so sensitive.
Yeah. And, so we love your questions, everyone coming in tonight. Please share with us how you're grounding, or ask us questions about the empathic, um, ability, because as we were talking earlier, Kelly was saying you're even more aware, like that's an asset. It's a superpower. When you're an empath, you are more aware than a lot of people around you, right,
Yeah.
Kel? Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I think here's this. This is one of my theories. It's not, a fact or anything, but it's the way I feel. I feel that the empaths are the people with a super high IQ, so
Mhm,
135 and above, and that the higher your IQ, the more sensitive you are
mhm,
because you're using more of your brain. Therefore,
mhm.
I feel you are more aware of your body. And so that's my philosophy. What about you, Cheryl?
Well, you're making me think that some people in their lifetimes may not be empaths at an early age, but then as they get older, they become empaths. That's what your conversation made me think of. It's like, because there's a lot of older people out there that are super sensitive. Now, they
Mhm.
may have been that way, at their childhood. I didn't know them back then, but I do know that
Yeah.
older people, like they've been around, right? They know the
Well,
ropes.
the older
They're
you get,
com
the smarter you get.
yeah, the thin-skinned, right?
Mhm.
More compassion, very, very intuitive also, I think. They have heightened awareness, whatever they may not call it that, but I
I
do
get
feel that.
that, yeah. I
Mhm.
like that heightened awareness. I mean, honestly, since I was a child, I have diagnosed my health issues on my own and fought with doctors and been proven correct. I mean,
Mhm.
I diagnosed
Mhm.
my endometriosis at 19 after going to 9 different doctors in a 6-month period. It took me
Mhm.
9 doctors for one to really hear me and listen to me and believe that I could feel these things going on in my body, and I had, when they finally did the surgery, the worst case of endometriosis they'd seen in a 19-year-old, and they
Mm.
did surgery and said, "You may never be able to have children, but we're hoping you will, but you might have a lot of miscarriages from the scar tissue." It was so severe.
Mhm.
But I was
Mm.
able to have 3 kids, which I always call my miracle babies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think empaths, we feel things, and that's why we're a little bit more sensitive to injuries. If somebody pokes me in the arm, it might not hurt normal people, but me, it's so painful. Like I feel everything so much more, I think, than other people. Yeah.
Also, I guess even your scenting, your taste, may be more sensitive. The smells may be more sensitive, the hearing may be heightened, right? The, uh, when someone makes you, when someone appreciates what you're doing for them in some way, we take all of it in because we know how wonderful that feeling is. But I've noticed that with myself is, I'm very sensitive to scents or fragrances.
Yeah.
Yeah, even cooking with spices, for example, or
Mhm.
seasonings, much more
Oh,
sensitive. And
yeah.
then, yeah, and then also hearing, very, very sensitive to hearing. Yeah. Do I
See,
really have to? Go ahead.
I think I would be, but I have hearing loss.
Yeah. I think it's just maybe part of it. And then even light, but not so much light or dark, with my eyes, not so much, but more of the hearing, more of the smelling, the tasting even. It's like you can smell something and taste it at the same time. I don't know if other people have that or not.
I
But
do. I
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I have that.
Mhm.
And it is just like that exactly. And somebody just put here, when someone talks about their injuries, they feel it and shiver from it. I do too. Oh my god.
Amanda.
2 brothers who were always
Amanda.
injured. One time my brothers, they were surfers, put the surfboard through his lip and came
Mm,
back with an earring in it, and the whole it was just horrible. But you know how boys are, they're so gross. It wasn't a but
mhm,
I got so sick and I started
mhm,
crying. I could
mhm,
taste the
mhm,
blood in my mouth
mm,
even though it wasn't me.
mhm,
And my
mhm.
mom and everybody was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so freaked out. And to this day, I can't look at needles or any of that.
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
But, Amanda's a total empath. I mean, she nailed it right there when she,
yeah,
told us, yeah, when you're around people who are sick or not feeling well, and then you start, it's that would, I would say that would classify is not only compassionate but empathetic. You're sympathetic and empathetic.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
2 things. You can be both. Yeah. Because they
I
are
have
different.
yeah, I have a I have a question here going. Do we want to talk about the difference of sympathy and empathy? Do we want to go there or
Yeah, that's, I mean, I think, well, what did you, let me hear yours because I don't want to say mine till you say yours.
yeah. Okay, well, we'll answer this question first. Let's answer because I saw this question come through, and
Mhm.
I think a couple of people have been asking the same question about. Let's see, Takako. Hello, Takako. Says strangers often come up to me at the mall or at the grocery store and tell me their life stories. How do I protect my spiritual energy? Well, let's just say number one, people love coming up to you because you're so open and you're so approachable. I'm sure you have the empathic ability going for you and that
Yes.
you're so comfortable to be around and you're you're not defensive in some way. You're easily, once again, someone you look, maybe you look familiar or you remind them of someone who has a pleasant demeanor. It's really your aura, your energy field people are sensing, right? And yeah, so they come right to you to talk. So how do you protect your spiritual energy?
Uh, Again, I'm going to go back to, you're going to the grocery store, you're going to be around people. I don't like to go to Trader Joe's because it's so packed, no matter what time of the day you go. So I avoid it and send my husband in. So
Mm.
I'll avoid certain situations. But if I have to go to the grocery store, I'm setting that intention before I go in. I go in with a smile. I'm sending love to everybody, but only love can get back in. And I'm not really opening up for conversations with people. Like I said, that I don't want to get sucked in because, as a sensitive and an empath and a psychic and a medium, it's so easy to get sucked into somebody's life story and kind of start giving advice. And I don't want to do that. I have like a mission, in my head. So again, it's preparing before. That's what I do. What about you, Cheryl?
I would say that, sometimes people are very brief in their telling their life stories. So that's okay. It's when you have a long winded conversation going with someone where you need to be somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot of times where there's just lovely people out there that want to connect with us, no problem. But then there are the times where we really don't feel like talking. Maybe we're already tired, which it sounds like, Takako, definitely. I would suggest I send my energy down to Mother Earth. I send my energy down to Mother Earth, and I actually send that person love that I'm speaking with. Like everywhere I go in the store, I'm like sending out love, like flowers. I send out flowers to everyone in the store. And I believe that somehow opens up my auric field, but it's also strengthening at the same time. If in some way it's giving them the freedom or the permission to have a great day themselves, so to speak. So think about it that way. It's not so much about closing in, and it's almost about just giving out love next time you go out to the store. Would you please try that and let us know? It's like sending flowers to everyone, or sending red hearts to everyone and see how that goes. You might be surprised that everyone feels so good. They're in their own present moment, so to speak, and they are going about their day as you will too. So I hope that works for you.
And oh, thank you, Vivian. I love Vivian. She's the sweetest soul I've ever met, and I've never met her in person, but I could just feel her energy from her comments, from her emails.
Yes.
Such a beautiful soul. I know she's an empath. I
Yeah.
have a question
I
for
love
my
that.
Instagram, and I posted in here because
Okay.
I can relate to this, and so can my son. I feel drained after visiting mom in memory care, especially during full moons. I like to book all my events around full moons because my energy is so high and I'm so
Mhm.
open. So
Mhm.
that's part of the reason why it's overwhelming. I also used to get, or still do, kind of get very drained when I go to any hospital setting. But when I had to visit my mom in the nursing home, even though I set all those intentions and I tried to protect my energy, I feel like personally I haven't mastered that when it comes to going to a nursing home. My child, ever since he could talk, does would never want to go into the hospital to visit to his auntie who had cancer, didn't want to go to the hospital or the nursing home to visit his grandma. He didn't like it, didn't feel comfortable in it, didn't want any part of it. And that was starting as early as 3 years old. So I think, I always respected my child's wishes because I'm not going to force that on them because I don't even like it, right? But we do have to visit our parents. We do have to go see them. And I say, some of the things you can do is bring crystals, bring flowers, like literal flowers, things to uplift the energy. Bring your own kind of essential oil spray if that's something you like. So when my friend was in hospice, I brought Palo Santo spray with me. I
Mm-hmm.
sprayed in the corners of her room
That's nice.
very lightly, and I put crystals around her. Anything to kind of uplift the energy while you're there, it
Mm-hmm.
helps. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't go around staging the room. It was a hospice, right? They're not gonna let you with fire in there. But they did. I snuck my little spray in, and I just a little squirt, just in each corner, and it just sort of like grounds me and centers me and brings me in. Like okay, I'm protected. And I call in my angels to
Mm-hmm.
help me through, the visit, to help me stay grounded, to help me, stay loving, but not absorbing all the pain.
And
Yeah.
that's great that we're talking about tools and you're talking about crystals and essential oils, Kelly.
Yeah.
I'd like to add in bringing flowers, like buy yourself some flowers. We all need to have flowers around us, whether you're bringing them into someone else's home or your office. It lifts the energy. As Kelly mentioned, her essential oils lifted the energy. A crystal does. Use flowers. Once again, bring flower and it lifts it absorbs anything negative. Actually, putting fresh flowers around your home, the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, or just maybe in the center of the home in the kitchen table, it will lift the energy. And always that's why they're so lovely to bring them to a friend's home or once again the office, especially if you're going through something, but you don't even have to be going through something. You could just be cleaning the energy, right? We're just infusing the energy field that you're in with a higher vibration, such as essential oils, crystals, flowers. And think
It,
about that.
it's well, I did when my friend. I don't know how I did it, but she was dying, and we got a call like, we need to get there right away. And I
Yeah.
hopped on a plane with my crystals and essential oils
Wow.
and like all of it. I mean, I brought it all, and I had been giving her crystals for the cancer. So
Mm,
I of course brought it to the hospital and then the hospice care when they moved her there. But yeah,
mm,
it really helped a lot. Somebody
mm,
says Himalayan salt lights; those are beautiful as well.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know what, Cheryl? It is 7:55, and we haven't
Oh
made
my
any.
God.
I know, I know. No, you can never have too many crystals ever. Amanda, don't even ask that question. There's no such thing. I'm getting ready to open up a crystal store on Friday, the April 5th. So I'm super excited in Sacramento. But I was gonna let me make my announcements real quick.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
Month,
Kelly.
I have a small group reading that's in person in Sacramento on April. Oh my gosh, is it April 12th? Brianna, help me out. I believe it's Friday night, April 12th at 7 p.m. in Sacramento. Yes. It's the link is going to go up and be on my website by tomorrow morning. I had a little problem with Eventbrite tonight.
Mm,
So go ahead and look for that tomorrow, but you can go to my events page. Brianna posted a link right here. And then that's the in-person one. Then I have an online one on the 14th, Sunday the 14th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because I realized it's so late for the East Coast when I do 7. So now it's
mhm,
5 and it's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. So it's a little bit earlier for people on the East Coast because I do have a lot of clients on the East Coast and I started to
mhm.
feel really bad. So that's coming up on them. Then I have on 420, April 20th, my
Aw,
open mic night for platform mediums at my new crystal store. Super excited for that. And I think she put that in here right here. So that is something if you're in Sacramento, that's also in person. And then I'm super excited because I'm opening my crystal store on the 5th to host my first, big event with another medium is I'm oh my gosh. Colby Rebel. I just feel like I'm like, who's this? Colby Rebel is coming to my shop. She'll be teaching a workshop in the afternoon and doing a dem in the evening. So excited. So if you're in the Sacramento area, get your tickets early because Colby will sell out, and it is early now. So I would say that. And there is an early bird special. I don't know if it's over yet, but there is an early bird special. So go check that out. You can see that on my website, or you can go to Colby's website, or here's the links for Eventbrite that Brianna posted in here. And hopefully she posted them on Instagram too. I don't know. That would be helpful maybe. And those are my big April events. I don't think there's any more. I think that's it. That's enough.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I'm busy, April. Very busy. Your turn, Cheryl.
So tomorrow night, everyone, I think I have a ticket left. I either have 1 or 2 tickets left for my Circle of Love. It's a small group reading event online. Love doing those small group events because it's more intimate. There's only 6 people maximum that'll be part of it. It's online. Please sign up. It's tomorrow night. If you can't make it tomorrow night, know that I have them every month. So I'll announce the future ones upcoming. And then also I have an event happening April 11th with Suzanne Northrup. I'd love to see you there. It's another online event. We'll be reading as many people as we can. It's mediumship and psychic readings. So that's kind of a neat chance to do both with Suzanne on April 11th. And then, of course, I have my Sunday night healing prayer circle, which is free to join. Please sign up for my healing prayer circle this coming Sunday. It will be, as it is every week, at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And look, when you guys go to my website at mediumcheryl.com, I have an intuition test it's a quiz to find out where you're strong in your intuitive abilities. So check that out. It's on my website at mediumcheryl.com. Yeah, so that's a lot. We got a lot covered in the few minutes we had left, Kelley.
I know. It was great. We did really well. This was I feel like this is a show that could be 2 or 3 weeks long.
I
And
agree.
we have 1 minute left, and I just wanted to share with everybody that we're working on a new format for the show. So we will have things planned out more in advance, and you can go to the website and it'll be on the website like upcoming, guests. We're trying to host 1 or 2 guests every month now and do readings once a month on the show. And so you can look ahead and see what's happening and which shows so you to make sure you don't miss the ones you want to see. So keep an eye out on that. Of course, I'm trying to do that with Cheryl. We're working on that wall. I'm also trying to open up a crystal store. I'm doing my best, but we're trying to get that started for next month, which is like literally next week. I'm still working on it, but I'm doing my best. It might start in May. We're doing what we can, but be on the lookout for that. We're super excited. If you have show ideas or guests, again, always email us. We love getting your ideas, your emails, and please help us grow the show by sharing it. I'm looking into creating a contest for people sharing the show and helping us grow it. So I'm working on that. Maybe there'll be some really cool prizes. We would like to get to 100 people live every week. That's a first goal, and we want to grow that to more. We want to reach as many people as we can to help around the world, not just here in the US. So please help us share it. Even if they can't watch live, we're on all the podcasting the next day when Brianna uploads them all. So we're totally excited about that. And we want help growing the show. This is our 3rd year, going on our 3rd year, right?
Right. At least. Yeah, definitely 3rd year.
Yeah, and we love doing the show, and we love everybody, and we want to see it grow. So help us out. And I will be announcing these cool, contests coming up soon. Cheryl and I are working on lots of great ideas. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's our Podbean channel. You can listen the next day in your car while you're driving. You don't have to watch the video. Podbean's just the sound. So, if you can't make the show, you can always listen. It helps us.
Guys, thanks guys for being such loyal followers, and we are so thrilled that you're allowing us into your living room, or you taking the time to watch our show each and every week. So namaste, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. You've been watching Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed. We will see you again. Kelly, I'll see you again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. All right, everyone, namaste. Good
Thank
night.
you, everybody. Bye.